it's never, it just battery controlled.
Hey, grandkid.
Yeah, one of them. I got 7.
Whoa.
I got 3 kids and 7 grandkids.
Youngest one?
Well, he's the second to the youngest, but this is a couple of years old. They're from one turned 3 last Sunday. That's the youngest, all the way up to one that's going to be 10 in October. 3 kids. One has 2. The oldest has 2. The youngest has 2, and the middle has 3.
Did you grab that?
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I get to go to a lot of baseball games and soccer games.
All right. Let's call the meeting of the Board of Trustees, June 10th, 2026 to order. Everybody please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance and stay standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, next up is roll call. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Cindy Simpson. Mayor Pro Tem Brenda Porter.
Here.
Trustee Max Bennett.
Here.
Trustee Corey Jabor.
Here.
Trustee Andres Esparza.
Here.
Trustee Ed Holland.
Here.
Trustee Daniel Henning.
All right, we have the quorum. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, and I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for June 10th, 2026, as presented by staff.
Second. We have a motion second. All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Okay. Yep. Right here. All right. Right here. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that, sick dog. All right, so audience participation policy is all people wishing to address the board shall do so from the podium provided in the boardroom. Comments shall be directed to the Board of Trustees, not the audience. Public comments regarding items not on the agenda shall be limited to 5 minutes per person. Public comments regarding public hearing items on the agenda will be limited to 3 minutes per person at the time the item comes up on the agenda. No person shall be allowed to speak until recognized by the mayor. The board will not respond to citizen comments or take any action during audience business. They may instruct staff at the end of the meeting if further action is needed or desired by the majority of the board. Whew, okay, having said that, first and only person, Mr. Worth.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and respected trustees. My name is Mark Worth. My wife and I live at the location where your water is drawn from the Memphis River, where particulates are settled out in your water, and where 1/2 mile of pipeline delivers water to your water treatment plant and your tap. Also known as 10750 Road 43 in Memphis. If you would be so kind, I would like to pass this photo down the road so each trustee can see this photograph up close.
Thank you.
You can identify the scale of this outlet by noting the chain and the padlock. This was a large culvert, probably 40 inches across. If you look closely, you can see that a bunch of water is flowing out onto 3-inch crushed rock placed to eliminate erosion that would otherwise have occurred over the previous 56 years all around the base of the rock to make it work. You are looking at the physical structure which allowed the release of unneeded water referred to in the easement. The easement calls for unneeded water from the Memphis River to be released on this property. I believe this was a way to protect your water right through the accepted and generally understood Colorado water law principle, use it or lose it. This allowed the town to use 100% of its number 3 adjudicated water right, 1.6 cubic feet per second from the Memphis River, and thereby preserve that I have a diagram here that shows the system that was in place from 1960 to 2016. Kind of ugly, but it's what we got here. We start up here at the river at 7,412 feet. We drop 2 feet into the settling ponds. We went past a shut-off valve, and then we dropped another 5 feet to where the measuring device was. The partial was built in a big metal box there. Below that, at that point, your 1.6 CFS was measured. If you wanted to reduce that, that was allowed, but you could never pull more than 1.6 CFS through that point. At that point, you needed to bring enough water through to satisfy the needs of the town as your needs change without driving back up to this property to change the gate. That was facilitated by an outlet here that was about 25 feet below the measuring device. This outlet is still a long way above the water table. So the pipeline would be full from here down. This would keep any air that was being pulled through the system, let that out, and it would let out additional water that was not being used by the town. Without this outlet, this measuring device would have flooded and would not have functioned. This outlet was critical to running the pipeline and allowing the water treatment plant to draw as much water as needed. Any water not needed came out through this outlet. In between, we have a tap on the Elder property, a tap on the Tumbling Key property, and a tap on the B&B property. Each one of these is significantly lower than the outlet. That system was replaced. When that system was replaced, the outlet was removed, and now measurements are taken between the river and the ponds, and then there's an outlet here that lets water go back from the river from the ponds to the river that is also measured. Previously, it spilled out there when it wasn't going through the system. This system eliminated that outlet for unneeded water. The new system has never drawn more than 0.6 CFS for more than 3 days at a time. There's occasions when you are working on the system where you're filling ponds or something and you use a little more. But the change between 1.6 and 0.6 is 1 CFS that disappeared, that used to come out here. I believe that it's clear that that was the intent of the easement, that the exchange of land for this water was a fair deal. My wife and I have given up all hope of ever getting this water back into the valley's wetlands or the valley's water table. Is that my 5 minutes?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. At this point, we're asking for 1/10 of 1% of the water that used to flow out here for one single 3/4 inch tap. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, next item is Montezuma County Commission update. I do not see Gerald. Moving along, we have announcements. Heather?
I do have a few. Borough Fest is coming out on Saturday, June 20th. So we want to assure you later on in the meeting, it's networks back here, and we have some paint and everything happening. Terry is very aware that we'll need to figure out, so we'll need to work with the networks to make sure there's no harm to boroughs during Borough Fest if work is happening back here. Excuse me. Staff is preparing items for the 250 celebration featuring, we're just going to kind of put some things up for the month of June. What we're planning is some flags or banners both in front of Town Hall and the Marshal's office, maybe stenciling some stars on the grass because they'll go away next time it's mowed, that kind of thing. Nothing super over the top, but we do want to at least acknowledge the 150th anniversary of the state of Colorado and the 250th anniversary of the country. So I don't know, I haven't heard anything from anybody to see if anybody has some ideas, but so staff is working on a few things, nothing super over the top. But, we wanted to make you aware of that, so if you see banners and flags and stuff hanging in front of town hall, and the marshal's office, that would be why. CML is coming up, the annual conference is June 22nd to June 25th, and Mayor Simpson and Trustee Loving are signed up for that. And our 2025 financial audit is being finalized, and Majors and Haley will come present that to you at the board meeting in July. We're just not sure if it's the first or the second. That is all I have. That's all stuff.
Cleanup is also, yard waste cleanup is Saturday the 20th, right?
And what our staff will do is they'll get up early in the morning on Saturday and set up all the street closures. And then one staff member will head over to van yard waste.
Is that at the old dump? Old dump. Mm-hmm.
And every year it starts in May and ends in September or October. So it's on the third Saturday of every month. And it's a citizen thing, right? It's a town thing, it's all.
Nice. Nice. Anything else? Anything from board members? Okay.
What were the CML dates again, I'm sorry?
June 22nd to June 25th.
The 25th.
So that meeting on the 24th, I will need, I will need a quorum because I believe we have a couple of public hearings scheduled. So if you could do your best to attend, please let us know. It is never something we like to do. However, if we cannot have a quorum, we will need to continue those public hearings to a date certain. And it will be the first meeting in July, but it will be the citizens' conference. So yeah, if everybody else is going to attend if possible, then that's
okay. All right. Thank you. Any, we have 2 items on the consent agenda, and they are the May 27, 2026 minutes and the May bills and claims. Any comments, questions, concerns? Okay. I would entertain a motion and a second.
So moved.
To approve
The consent agenda.
I forgot to say that word. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just, I was pointing, she said second.
Oh, yeah.
Pointing second.
Okay. All right. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving on. Discussion and action items. We have Clear Networks fiber easement. Heather.
Yes, this one is hopefully easy. We discussed this at the last meeting and instructed our town attorney to consult with their legal, both the town and Clear Networks legal consultant. Everybody's happy with this agreement. So we're asking for your approval of this meeting. Unfortunately, David couldn't be here, but I did specifically reach out to him and say there are no concerns, correct? Except for wetlands, and he said yes. He's fine with it. So.
Okay. Did you want to come up and speak?
Introduce myself. I'm John Walker, Southwest Colorado Operations Manager for Clear Networks and Deeply Digital. Thank you for your time. Appreciate your concern. We're excited to serve the town of Mancos and get everybody an opportunity for other communications and fiber optic. And to the concern for Borough Days, yes, we will work around. Grew up in livestock, so always that consideration if you have live animals, and if anybody's been around donkeys, they will find any hole that they can find. So we will make sure and work with anybody on that. So make sure everything's closed up and safe. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions of the applicant or of staff? All right. Then I would entertain a motion and a second to authorize the town administrator to execute the non-exclusive easement agreement with Clear Networks LLC for fiber optic infrastructure at 117 North Main Street, Mancos, Colorado.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Brett McCarter.
Aye.
Trustee Max Lonnie.
Aye.
Trustee Corey Jabbar.
Aye.
Trustee Andres Esparza.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Helm.
Aye.
All right, thank you all. All right, so the next item up is agency contribution program.
So just in case it takes a little bit to get everybody's signature, you guys can go ahead, so, excuse me, I apologize. We had talked about amending the agency contribution program. Currently, we have 2 rounds a year, and the maximum award is $1,500 per grant application. And they must come back in the next round to do either a written or verbal follow-up. You prefer verbal, but you'll accept a written follow-up. We had talked about changing this to 1 time per year to coincide with Colorado Gives Day. Colorado Gives Day is the second Tuesday, or first Tuesday, in December every year. So I have amended your current guidelines and application information that we would pass out to the citizens or the nonprofits to reflect that information. So I'm looking for your feedback on my changes to make sure I didn't miss anything and everything is okay with it. And my question is, we are only doing this once a year. We generally budget, depending on how tight the budget year is, between $12,000 and $15,000 for this one line item. Do you want to increase the $1,500 max, or do you want to leave it where it is? So I do need that answered, and then any other feedback you have on this, please let me know. And this does not have to be finalized tonight. This is your program, so we can take as much time as we need if you all need some information.
Okay. Corey, any comments?
How many of these do we give away on an average per year?
We generally give away between 5 and 10 per year. And usually the first round, which you guys hear in September, but the check isn't cut until January of the next year, that's usually the heavy round. The last round, we had 1 applicant. For the second round of applications, the year before though, we had 5 and we were maxed out. So it's really hard to tell, but it's generally between 5 and 10 over the last 10 years.
So we typically don't run through what we have budgeted for it.
Not usually, no.
Okay.
But we have on certain years, correct?
We absolutely have, especially if we have a tight budget year and have to lower that line item, you know the nonprofits are struggling as well.
Right.
So that's unfortunately the catch-22 there.
Yeah.
But we, in the last 5 years, through the agency contribution finance, we've only expended the entire budget twice. And then what we do with the rest is, if there's anything left, we fund the fire department, fireworks fund, or if one of the sports teams at the school district makes it to state, we may donate some money or I don't know, trophies or something. So.
Okay, any other thoughts or opinions? Okay.
No, I was just thinking of it
Yeah.
number wise, like.
Okay. Ed?
No, I think it's a good program. I think what we've had in the past, at least when I was on the board prior, we would have the same agency come back for the 2 rounds to try to maximize their need, because of their needs. So, I'm not opposed to saying up to $3,000. But when it comes down to it, it's basically doing 1 time a year. We have X amount of dollars, we divide it. Where in the past, when we were doing 2 at a time, we would have money left over, and we had times where we had, again, more than we could contribute, or people wanted the maximum but didn't come back because they just couldn't fit it into their schedule or spaced it out, a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't have an issue with the 3,000.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with the 3,000. I think that's the reasonable route to go. My question was kind of going with your comment, but how often do we have the same organization utilizing both of those dates? So they are applying for a total of 3,000 a year.
So for a while there, they were allowed to do that, but, oh gosh, maybe 8 years ago,
Right.
maybe 9 now.
It was 8.
Just as it's
Yeah,
been,
yeah.
we changed it so they can only apply for one round per budget.
So this would change that a bit, then this would actually be advantageous to them, where that they could now apply for up to
For the full
3,000.
3,000.
They
In
can
one
apply
year?
for 3,000 for
Yeah.
one time, because we're only doing it once per year.
Right.
I also would like to point out, which I did in my staff report, but we have already given out the money for 2026.
Right.
So when we move to this annual program, it will not, you won't see applications again until November of 2027. So it will give us enough time to finalize it, make sure we caught any bugs, do the public outreach to our agency contributions, and to the agencies, because we have agencies that come every single.
Yeah, I was actually about to ask, what would that outreach look like? Just if those organizations are holding out for this next funding cycle that won't be happening, how do we make sure?
And what I would do is I would go through, I have a spreadsheet that has information all the way back to 2010. And I would reach out to those repeats over the last 4 or 5 years, personally via email, and say, hey, we have a program. And then we would do the flyers and the newspaper retailers to the
Yes. Any other questions? Any thoughts?
I would agree with bumping it up to the 3,000 per year.
Okay. Others?
Yeah, I think more money would equal bigger projects, more visibility, which would be pretty awesome. So I think 3,000 is totally reasonable once a year. I'm for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. The nice thing about us doing it one time a year is that we know the full amount that we have to give at that time. Because in the past, like we do get really heavy sometimes on that first round. And we have kind of been a little conservative with our money during that first round because we don't know what the second round might be like as well. Whereas this is all in one meeting, one go at it. And if we do have more than what's out there being asked for, we have the discretion to say, well, we can't give everybody $3,000 this time, but maybe this project is $2,000 this year and whatnot. So we have that discretion as a board to make that decision. So I think 3,000 it's a good incentive for people to apply. And sometimes we have heard in the past where the $1,500 wasn't really worth the administrative cost of applying for some of these for the smaller organizations. So I would totally be in favor of that.
Yeah, and I was gonna bring that up. So yes, thank you. We're in agreement. Yeah, because we've had people like, it's just not worth it. It's a lot of work. It's, all their financials and all of that. So I think this opens the door to making it a little more worth their while. Yeah, I like it. I'll let you go. I just lost my my brain derailed.
The only thing I'd be interested in exploring, maybe not this time, but again, that rule of one per organization. I feel like we have a few organizations that are going to pull forward great artists with great projects, and to not be allowed to give them to. That's not this one. That's the public art.
This is
I am so sorry.
This is
My mind was in a
nonprofit.
totally different place on this.
Yeah, this is just a
Yeah,
nonprofit one.
do that.
I'm not the only one.
Yeah,
Oh.
you're good.
We're going on the road with our comedy act here.
Yeah.
And I think the other point that I wanted to just mention and see if anybody had further comment is the idea of coming and telling us what they did with their, the grant that we gave them. And I like that. And I also know that the gas is really high right now. And if we can shave some money off of what they're spending, that's okay too. So for me, I do prefer to echo, I do prefer that they come and tell us and ask in person, but I also know that I think they should still come and ask so that we can ask them questions and, kind of sift through it. But yeah, the after part, they could just give us one-page write-up of what they did with the money or something.
Well,
That's in
this
there.
would increase
Yeah.
for people who ask for money year over year over year.
Mhm.
They're going to be here to present their application.
Mhm.
So the chances of them being here to present their follow-up, because they happen at the same meeting,
Oh, yeah, good point.
are, they get to kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
Ah, good
Now, if
point.
you're not planning on asking for money year after
Yeah.
year, welcome to submit a written follow-up.
Yeah,
And then they're only appearing before you at one meeting.
yeah.
So it does streamline their process and requirements for attendance.
Yeah.
By only doing it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any
I was gonna
other-
say, I read that in there and I was like, that's really great. I like that.
Yeah, and I just wanted to put it out there on the recording and everything, because it was easy to miss. Ed?
I'm a little confused. You said, I understand you said the money for 2026 is already allocated. But we will see this in November for 2027.
Correct.
Okay, because it almost sounded like you were saying, we're not gonna see it until 2027.
Oh,
No.
that is
No, we
correct.
won't.
You will not see these until November of you will not see applications until November of 2027. Because the agency contribution program for 2026 is passed.
When was it? In April?
In September of 2025 was the first round, and checks were cut January
Right,
of 26.
okay, I understand that.
April of 26 was the second round, and
Okay.
checks were cut January.
That's where I was, wheels was spinning, like, wait a minute, are we gonna skip a year for some reason? Not skipping, it's just a cycle of changes. So,
Yeah.
okay. I just wanted to make sense of that for myself.
And does that timing work out with like grant processes, budget?
It works out fine,
Okay.
because by November, we generally have a final operating budget.
Mhm.
There are still always some things we have to tweak, like
Yeah.
property tax and stuff.
Yeah.
But 95% of our operating budget is set by November,
Okay.
by that first meeting in November, because we have to introduce the September.
Yeah.
So it works for operational accounting, it works for that process.
Okay.
The only time, the only thing that's going to happen is we are going to be required, and we have never in my time here, cancel the first meeting in November, because we always cancel the second meeting in November because it conflicts with Thanksgiving. So that's why in here, that was
That's
noted, because it allows them to turn it in by October 31st.
Mhm.
That gives staff a week or two to review and make sure they're all complete. Get it on the first meeting in November, and then we cut checks after Thanksgiving in December.
Okay.
So hopefully they receive them by that second Tuesday on or around to keep that Colorado Games Day.
Okay. And so it'll work for our budgeting process and theirs. It sounds
I
like
don't
as
know
well.
about
Sort of.
nonprofits. If they run in January
And
and
cycles
December,
are
it's
so
a little
narrow.
late for them.
We can't make it.
Yeah.
It's all they're used to.
Yeah.
So, but I would imagine that if they know they're looking for grants.
They'll
Yeah.
make it work.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Okay. All right. Any other comments, questions, concerns?
If you want to increase the maximum grant amount, then that motion is fine, but you need to add on and increasing maximum grant amount to $3,000 per budget year per organization.
I got it.
Okay. All right. I would entertain a motion in a second.
Make a motion to amend the agency contribution program to a one-time per year, with applications being due no later than October 31st of each year by 5 p.m. and increasing the per organization amount to $3,000 maximum.
All right. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Items for June 24, 2026 meeting. Workshop to be determined, consent agenda, June 10, 2026 minutes, committee reports, whatever else might hit between now and then.
I'd say, can we just cancel that workshop for that meeting, since we might only have a few for the meetings, since we're gonna have people at CML?
All right. So we have consent, And then we have a public hearing, El Rio Cantina liquor license premises modification, public hearing, Outlier Sellers, LLC, DBA, Pensign liquor license application. Anything else? Yes, Heather.
Potentially a resolution to appoint a new primary municipal judge. Our substitute municipal judge will remain the same. I will know that on tomorrow night. So you may see that resolution.
Okay. All right. Anybody want any other item? Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Just to give you all a heads up, at the first meeting in July is your joint meeting with each year. The second meeting in July is your joint workshop, I guess, with the creative district. So both of those workshops will start at 5 p.m. I'll note that on the agenda as a reminder you when I send you the packet, but both of those workshops will start at 5 p.m. And then Audrey and I are talking about meeting with the school district in September. I believe it's the second meeting in September. I don't remember, but it is in September. And then Make Us United forming after summer harvest. And then in between all of those, we will fit budget discussion. So we may do things a little bit different this year. If we need to put that on the agenda for discussion, we'll put it on the agenda for discussion so that we can plan schedule.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. I would look for a motion to adjourn.